Hello friends, welcome to Civilspedia. In this edition, we are going to see the current affairs related to 28th August 2018. All right. So, as we have two set of topics today, one is about oxytocin, which is mostly based on the mains perspective, and second is about the map related to Assam, which is mostly prelims focused. The first, coming to the topic of oxytocin, the topic of the day, this main topic of the day, why it is in news. The relevance of this news in the sense like recently the Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry has restricted the production, consumption as well as the selling of oxytocin, and so the rationale of the decision, whether the wholesale ban as such it is right or wrong, it is contested, and that's what we're going to see today. All those things related to oxytocin. Okay, so we are going to see what is oxytocin, what are the issues related to that, what are the concerns, and what is exactly the government has done, and why people are discussing, contesting about the government's ban. Okay, the first coming to the topic of what is oxytocin. So oxytocin is a hormone. It is a hormone which is secreted by the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Okay, so these are like it's a pituitary gland is a hormonal thing. Okay, so this it is secreted in the pituitary, which is located in the upper part of the body, actually, in the head, actually. In that, like, this hormone is secreted. It's a hormone, as I already said, like it is a ductless gland. So it is this hormone is secreted in the blood, and then it is taken to the respective tissues and the parts of the body. All right. So it is released naturally in human beings, and because of the bonding activities, which is related to sex, childbirth, and breastfeeding. So these are the occasions on which this oxytocin is released, both in and in it is also called as cuddle hormone or the love hormone because of these activities, because only during the time of sexual intercourse or during the childbirth and breastfeeding it is released. So that is the reason why it is called as a love hormone. Okay, so these are the basic things. And coming to the what exactly this oxytocin is for, actually, what are the functions of it. Okay, so it is basically for the induction of labor by means when oxytocin is released. Okay, so the uterine part of women, it contracts during the labor for it so as to make easy women to give birth to a child, actually. Okay, so that is what the basic thing, actually. And in addition to that, this oxytocin, it is this not in just the hormonal form in nature, but also in the form of a injection or in the form of other tablets. Okay, it is used so as to stop postpartum bleeding, means actually post delivery there is a bleeding, right? So in order to stop that also, and in order to help new mothers lactate also, these hormones are very much necessary. And even in cases related to abortment of fetus, in cases of incomplete abortion and miscarriage, it is used. Okay, so it is basically used all those purposes related to the childbirth related to women, actually. All right. So even though it is naturally it is available, or else it is available in the form of injections as a medicine, it has been misused in the form of in the form of it is being used in the cattles, actually. Okay, so why it is used in cattles? Okay, even though it is not naturally in the cattles, like it is injected, injected indiscriminately so as to increase the milk production. Okay, so in these days, like wherein the milk productivity in India is very less, even though we have very high milk yielding varieties or like HF and Jersey cows and all, but still the milk productivity is very low. Okay, and the milk productivity is also has a range for age range, actually, from some say for instance 2 years to 5 years or 6 years maybe. All right, in that case, like in order to increase the production beyond that period to the cow, it is increased, it is used, actually. And secondly, this has increased unlicensed facilities. Okay, so even though this oxytocin like drug was basically meant for women, it is now used for the this for increasing the milk production in cattle, which is being used unlicensed, actually, basically. Okay, and third is about the concerns of infertility. So when we speak about infertility, this is very specific to the dairy animals, which especially the cattle, actually. And lastly, it has been linked to something called mastitis. Okay, this is kind of a painful inflammation of the udder, that is the mammary gland in the cows, actually, cows and buffaloes. Okay, so in this sort, like it has been misused in cattle, which is against the nature of it. Okay, so this has had made an impact, a negative impact on the health of the cattle as such. All right, now, and what about the concerns related to humans? Okay, so not just with respect to cattle, and you know what, like most of the people who are consuming these sort of uh, milk which is induced by the oxytocin hormone, they are also exposed to this drug, and it has again has some sort of a similar impact what it has on cattle as well. Okay. In addition to that, like it is injected to force premature puberty in trafficked young girls. Okay, so like India has been a kind of a country wherein like trafficking is very prevalent, especially in the eastern part and the western part, like because of the international borders, because trafficking being a transborder crime as such. Okay, in addition to that, it is also used for cosmetic purposes for the breast engorgement also. All right, and in addition to that, like one of the major concern is that like in order to speed up the deliveries of pregnant women in overcrowded government hospitals, it is induced. Okay, so because they need to, because in these days we are speaking about institutionalized delivery of children. Okay, but on that occasion, because of lack of availability of beds and lack of availability of infrastructure, and the doctors and the concerned persons, all right, they are taking this route so as to inject oxytocin so that like delivery is speeded up. Okay, so these are the reasons wherein the government has thought about the ban on some things. Okay, so what we exactly see today is not exactly a ban actually, but before that, before the what exactly government has done with this month, we got to see the existing regulatory measures. Okay, so this being something kind of an hormone which has a lot of side effects we have seen as such. Okay, the government has already taken some measures for the past few years. Okay, one of the thing is that like it has placed in the schedule H of the drugs and cosmetics rule of 1954. Okay, when a drug is placed under the schedule H of the drug and cosmetics rule 1954, this drug can be distributed, that can be sold only by a prescription. Okay, only when it is given by a doctor prescription with a medical prescription it can be given. Okay, so the doctor means a registered medical practitioner. Okay, and second thing is that so as to avoid a bulk sale. Okay, so they packed in single pack so that like it is not available in bulk. Okay, so why, in the sense like these things, when they get it in bulk and they indirectly sell to the veterinary hospitals or directly to the cattle owners. All right, and nextly about the ban actually. So later on, like there was a ban also. Sorry, there was a ban on the bulk drug manufacturers from selling it not just only to the license to make formulations. Okay, here are two concepts. One is about the bulk drug manufacturers, and second is about the formulations. Okay, so normally oxytocin is produced by only so-called bulk drug manufacturers, meaning what? They are the people like who has the real, this is the chemical name, right? Okay, so this is a chemical name, and this bulk drug manufacturers are given oxytocin to these formula companies. Okay, these formula companies means what? Oxytocin is taken and then some things are added, like which may be non-therapeutic in nature. For instance, like I'll give an example for these two distinctions. For instance, Digene has different flavors, right? Okay, but the basic constituent of Digene is magnesium hydroxide and aluminum. Okay, so in that case, you have a flavor of say peach. If you have a flavor of orange, citrus, all those things and all. Okay, so in that case, this magnesium hydroxide is the bulk drug manufacturer, and the one which is taken and adding some few things, okay, for the kind of flavors and all, that is called as a formulation. Okay, so these are the things. Okay, in this case, oxytocin, there was a ban restricting the producers of oxytocin only to give to those persons who has the license to formula. Okay, so in various different brand names this oxytocin was available. Okay, so that was the part of formulations. Okay, so the government now limited the number of licensee under the formulation. All right, secondly, about the government restricted sales. Okay, so next, coming to the government restricted sales, in the sense, next it said like only it can be sold only to the veterinary hospitals and with those things which have the license to make it. Okay, once these formulations they make certain tablets or injections, that can be sold only to the licensed things, which can be given only to the veterinary hospitals. Okay, so these are the some measures which are taken by the government, and but even thereafter, like it was so rampant that it was misused in the cattle as well as for the other purposes. All right, so that was the reason why like a case was filed in the Himachal High Court in 2014, and in 2016 this Himachal High Court have given a judgment based on a report on a large scale clandestine manufacturing and sale of the drug oxytocin, which has led to some grave misuse, which has harmed both animals as well as humans. Okay, so the Himachal High Court said that, okay, why can't the government, okay, it suggested the government to take some actions to restrict the manufacture of oxytocin only in public sector companies. All right, so that was kind of a suggestion given by the Himachal High Court in 2016. All right, so post this decision by the Himachal High Court, um, the in 2000 in 2000 in the 18 this year in 2018, the government of India, it banned the imports of hormone oxytocin, like, okay, so this import was majorly done through the countries like Bangladesh and through the western part of the countries, and this was again banned. All right, so the government, they started like kind of all kind of regulation, right from the manufacturing, right from the distribution, right from the selling and usage, everything, not just from the ones which is manufactured within the domestic thing, and even which related to the import. All right, so next is about like the government is also asked like this customs officials so as to make some vigilant actions so as to prevent this oxytocin also. Okay, but everything failed. Okay, as a last resort, the government recently in the some 4 months back, like um, it has called for a meeting with the drug technical advisory board, which is a drug advisory board for the government of India. So it has given some things like it has given some suggestions, and those suggestions were made in the form of changes as per the power which is given under the act, the Drug Control Act, actually. All right, so what are the changes made? So first is about the domestic purposes with respect to manufacturing. Okay, now who can manufacture this oxytocin? So now the manufacturing of public sector, this manufacturing of oxytocin is only limited to the public sector undertakings or the companies only. Okay, in this case, now it is related to a company called like Karnataka Antibiotics Limited, actually, and this is something like because initially prior to this ban, like almost like 113 companies, private companies, it was involved in that. Like now it has become a monopoly with respect to only the public sector companies. This is done so as to ensure like the trackability of this oxytocin drug, actually. So as to track this thing, the label of the products has to have a barcode so that it can be tracked also. All right, and secondly, with respect to consumption, so with respect to consumption, like who can consume, in the sense it is directly controlled through the supply of retail. Okay, so this can be given, this oxytocin which is manufactured by the public sector undertaking, that is Karnataka Antibiotics, that can be sold only to the registered hospitals and clinics in public as well as private sectors. Okay, now there is a regulation on the consumption as well. Okay, but those companies, now there is a question, what about those companies which is already involved in the production of these drug, actually? So they can very well export these drugs for other purposes, okay, which is again open to public and private sector. So they can involve in the production, but to export, not for domestic purposes. All right, this is another key thing which you got to keep in mind. And lastly, about other changes made, in the sense like the manufacturers here, in the case like only one manufacturer, they can sold only to the these things only to the private or the public hospitals, or indirectly to the Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. Okay, so these are like Jan Aushadhi stores and affordable medicine and reliable implants for treatment. Okay, under these schemes there have been so many Jan Aushadhi stores are been made, actually. So in those stores, like you can get these things, and in fact you can't get it as a retail thing, but they can in turn like sell it to the private and public hospitals. So this is again the changes made it because so as to make the availability easier. All right, but lastly they said like oxytocin in any form of name will not be allowed through a retail chemist. Okay, these are the major changes made by the recent order in the by the government of India. All right, so now coming to what exactly is the problem, why the ban has been facing some criticisms. Okay, first is about the substitution. So what is the substitution part? So normally, like as I already said, like the very purpose of this oxytocin is used because if at all women, when naturally she fails to secrete this oxytocin hormone, that will be kind of an impediment to the childbirth. All right, so that will indirectly increase the maternal mortality rate. All right, so almost like in a country wherein almost like 45,000 this maternal related deaths in India per year, actually. So in this case, oxytocin is very vital, okay, which is very indispensable as well. Okay, so in this such a scenario, this it is also internationally established that this drug is used for the active engagement of the third stage labor, and it has no substitution at all. It has been even recommended by WHO. So in such a scenario, you got to make sure that this is available at all levels at the all hospitals also. All right. Second is about the validity. Okay. So even though there are a lot of concerns which has been said about the misuse in cattle and the kind of impact it has on human, but it is still unclear. The evidence is not so properly established. And it was in 2014 there was a data which is given by the National Dairy Research Institute, which said that there was no such direct evidence of like oxytocin leading to infertility to the cattle as such. But recently, the drug technical advisory board said like, okay, you can go ahead. It has sort of an impact. Okay, but still, it is not so clear about the kind of actual impact it has on the cattle as well as on the humans. Okay. Lastly, about the shortage. Shortage is about like so since it is manufactured now only by one single public sector unit called as the Karnataka Antibiotics, so it may lead to drug shortages and price hikes as well. Okay, so even though, but the other contention it is made by the government is that like it is, since it is placed under the national list of essential medicines, it might be controlled, but the government needs to make sure that every state procures this drug at so that like no women is died because of the shortage of this medicine actually. All right. And lastly, about the alternative. Okay, so the last contention is that even if you ban oxytocin as such, okay, there are alternatives available to the this farmers in the sense like cattle rearers. Okay, so they have a kind of an pituitary extract hormone also in the gray market, which can have again kind of a similar impact, which can produce a similar result of an oxytocin, wherein to increase the milk production and all. But that will have even more impacts also. Okay, even more impacts also. So now again we got to wait and watch like how this has as an impact, positive impact of like reducing the um, impact on the cattle as well as humans, and also a kind of an it'll like we should not like expect anything drastic with respect to increase in maternal mortality rate because of shortage of oxytocin. Okay, so the upcoming days are very crucial to see how this impact is going to be. All right. And so these are the references I have posted it like to for you to read. You can find it in the page like which will be posted in the comments column. Okay, next coming to the map of the day. Today it's since we have focused one topic on the films wholly mains perspective. Now we'll be seeing about the films perspective. So what are the map we are going to see? In this map of Assam, we'll be seeing about the tiger reserves and national parks and rivers. Okay, so each and every aspect we'll see how the questions have been asked and like how we go to go ahead with that. Because today there was an article like so I said there was an article related to Kasiranga. Okay, so nowadays like there is so much about like the floods, all those related about conservation related activities and all. Okay, so you got to focus on these areas. All right. So better like always practice a map which will be helpful both in mains as well as in prelims. But coming to the prelims focus, like first we'll see what exactly you got to focus on. Okay, first we'll see about the national parks. Okay, so what are the national parks in Assam? Okay, first like first is Manas National Park, and there is Warang National Park, and there is Nameri National Park, and Kaziranga National Park, as well as Dibru Shaikova. Okay, so most of the national parks have kind of a similarity over the tiger reserves. Okay, so this tiger reserves and national parks almost like nearly 90% of the tiger reserves are already kind of a national parks. Okay, in this case in Assam, Manas is a tiger reserve. Orang is a tiger reserve, Kaziranga is a tiger reserve, and Nameri is also a tiger reserve. So you got to focus on those things also. So you have 4 tiger reserves in Assam, 5 national parks. Okay, the only one which is left out is Dibru Shaikova. All right. So once you are basically done with the names, then you got to map it actually. So how it is mapped? So for instance, in this map, so you see Brahmaputra running in between. All right. So this Brahmaputra separates for instance, like here it is Manas, here it is Nameri, and Kaziranga lies to the south of this thing, and Warang lies to the north. Okay, so Manas, Orang, and Nameri lies to the north of Brahmaputra, but Kaziranga and Dibru lies to the south of it. Okay, so now next you got to remember about the locations also. Okay, and next you got to, whenever you are studying in the map of a state, actually you got to focus on the important rivers. Okay, so every year they used to ask a kind of river which may be the northern rivers, or the Himalayan rivers, or the southern peninsula rivers. Okay, with respect to this river system in Assam, okay, the major rivers you got to focus on, it's very well the Brahmaputra as such. All right, and in addition to that, like you got to know the what are the what are the left bank tributaries and the right bank tributaries as such. Okay, so you got to know, like, instance, for instance, this Jia Bareli river, which is like, here it is the Jia Bareli river, which starts as Kameng in Arunachal Pradesh and then comes as Jia Bareli or Jia Bareli river in Assam actually. So this river you got to focus, because a question was asked based on it is given in NCERT. Okay, so you go through the major things like Subanshri, Danshri, and Manas, all right, Sankosh. Okay, so these are the basic rivers which you got to focus on, and separately there is a Barak river system also here. Okay, so once you remember the important rivers, all right, next you got to come back and then focus on the kind of tiger reserves which are associated with the rivers as such. Okay, because questions have been asked based on that. For instance, so this is a Majuli island. Okay, so even these sort of things, because Majuli is a kind of an heritage site, so it is a UNESCO site also. So you got to focus on, like, on which river this Majuli island is and what is the importance of this island also. You have a lot of related facts in NCERT. And next you got to focus on, like, since we have seen all those 5 national parks ranging from Manas, Kaziranga, Nameri, Dubru and all. Like, now we got to focus on one single thing. Okay, for instance, like, I've taken Kaziranga as such, the first one. So what you got to focus on, that is where does it lies actually. So for instance, like, in 2000, like 4-5 years back, they asked a question, like, match the following kind of thing, wherein they asked about, like, Manas with Kaziranga. All right, but Manas river, Manas National Park, it lies near the Manas river, and whereas Kaziranga, it lies in the banks of Brahmaputra. So this is what you got to know. So all right, and so once you know about the river basins around that, all right, next you got to know the important things. Once you hear the word like Kaziranga, you got to focus on one-horned rhinos. All right, and next the same thing with respect to Manas. Here it is, wherein the Manas river is given. All right, next it is about Nameri National Park and Forest Tiger Reserve, which is again which is very near to the Pakke Tiger Reserve. So the adjacent thing, which is the Pakke Tiger Reserve in Arunachal, here it is the Nameri, and the river which flows through is called as Kameng River or the Jia Bareli River. All right, and next coming to Orang National Park. Orang is here. It is in this Orang National Park, like, it is again north of Brahmaputra. We have already seen, like, three national park which is north of it. One is Manas, Orang, and Nameri, and the south is Kaziranga and Dibru Saikhowa. All right, and in addition to that, like, what you got to focus on, what are the key biodiversity aspects. Okay, so some species which are very specific, which are very endemic to the region of Assam, you got to focus on. All right, so the one of such things is Holog gibbon. Okay, here it is the one, this is the only Indian ape species. Okay, it is the only Indian ape species which is found in this region. All right, and you have a gibbon wildlife sanctuary also. You can find it in the map which is I given. All right, and you got to know about the IUCN status, which is endangered also. All right, and here it is a pygmy hog, again very much associated with the Assam thing, wherein the IUCN status is critically endangered, because here we got to first focus on the mammals as such. All right, so here I have taken only the mammals, and here it is the hispid hare again, which is again it is found in Manas National Park, and it is an endangered species. And here it is a river dolphin, wherein it is a national animal of India, as well as it is found in Brahmaputra as well as the Gangetic Delta region actually. And the lore is also slow lore is actually, it is also a kind of an arboreal, in a sense, like, which is found on the top of the trees, and it is a nocturnal mammal which is again found in the Gibbon Wildlife Sanctuary, where IUCN status is vulnerable actually. So these are the things. Okay, apart from the normal thing like one-horned rhinos, these are the things which you got to focus on when it comes in news or appears in articles. Okay, so this is how you got to focus on. So once you focus on the river, once you focus on the national parks, then you got to club in both things, and you got to find out and then try to draw a map and then find it out. And then the biodiversity aspects, which includes the species, and in that you got to give importance to the mammals as such. All right, so that's it for the day. If you have any suggestions, please put on your comments. All right, thank you.